Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Books and Beauty. My name is Tori. Okay, don't judge me. But if you watched the video before this, and I said, and I was like, when I started recording that video, I was like, oh, it's 2 a.m. because I had just finished book 1. And I said I was going to download book 2 and just read a few chapters. Bitch, I lied. It's 9:20 a.m. and I read the whole second book. Look, don't judge me. Look, I know the first step to fixing a problem is admitting that you have a problem. Guys, I have a problem. I'm so sleepy, but I needed to just do the review before I attempt to go to sleep because everything is just fresh in my head right now. But yes, I've been up for 24 hours. I took like a 3-hour nap yesterday, but yeah, I stayed up the whole night after I did that video and read book 2. And we need to talk about it. Oh my God, y'all, this fucking book. Okay. So this is Betray Me. It is book 2 of the Willow Heights Prep Academy, the Elite series. It is a dark high school bully romance. I'm gonna read the synopsis if you read book 1. Used, worthless, broken. The darlings think they won. They think they've beaten me, that I'm exactly what they call me, a dog. But there are things they don't know about my family. They don't know the lengths I'll go to get revenge, to protect my family, to honor my name. Devlin thinks he's done with me, but he's wrong. I'll never forget what he did to me, and I'll never let him forget, not until I've had my revenge. Because Dolces don't break, we break hearts. So the thing is, this book says that if you have triggers that you, like the first book and the second one, it basically says that if you have triggers that you shouldn't read the books. But me personally, I've read worse, but no, it was some shit in here. Like, I don't know where to start, because when we left off at book 1, well, first let me just say this before I get into the discussion. 4.5 out of 5 stars, period. 4.5 out of 5, obviously, because I fucking stayed up all night to finish reading it. It's really like 9:30 in the morning. Okay. 4.5 out of 5 stars. When we left off in book 1, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. When we left off in book 1, Crystal had sex with Devlin, lost her virginity, only to find out that it was basically all a setup. Not only that, her twin brother Royal was missing, allegedly kidnapped. They had no idea where he was because he hadn't come home. So that's how book 1 ended. And book 2, oh God, like, fuck me. Let me say this, because I know, don't judge me. Please don't judge me. I know I can't even get it out. I know I talked so much shit about Devlin. I know I talked so much shit about Devlin. I know. Don't judge me, because you already know what I'm about to say. That's why I'm laughing. I think I like Devlin. Do I love him? No. But I don't hate him. I might grow to love him in book 3. But I do like him. I still had hella issues with him in this book. But the fact that we got just a few snippets of his POV in this book, dead ass though, when I turned the page and got to a chapter and it was from his POV, I almost threw the Kindle because I said, oh fuck no, I don't want to hear from him. Yeah, his POV helped me change my perspective on him. Yeah. And now I like him. And I wasn't expecting this. And I don't know what's wrong with me. Colt. 100% don't like Colt. Colt can go to hell. Fuck Colt. Preston, I hate him with the fire of a million suns. He can die for all I care. Fuck him to infinity and beyond. Period. I've never in my life been so happy that this book was not reverse harem. I'm so fucking happy this book was not reverse harem, because I probably would have DNF'd. Because, yeah. These guys were fucking heinous. But so like after, I don't even know, because I just read through everything, so everything's like running together. But Crystal. Here's the thing. I like Crystal. I do. Because she does, you know, have a backbone. She does try to fight back. But she can just be so fucking dumb sometimes. So like that morning when first of all, dude, at the end of book 1, when she had sex with Devlin, before they even had sex, because when they woke up, they passed out drunk, neither of them could recall if they had sex the night before. And Devlin asked Crystal, are you on birth control? And she said no. And then he proceeded to have sex with her without a condom. And he came in her. Now, you already know where my mind is going. And I'm just like, please, Jesus, for the love of God, please, no, please, no. And it's fucking me up because, like I said, when it's like a high school type bully romance type thing, I usually automatically, my brain ages up my characters. But like, it was difficult doing this because they were just being so fucking irresponsible, and you can't really just comprehend and like an adult being this irresponsible or this reckless. So it was driving me nuts because she said nothing about a plan B. Like, they get home and she has to tell her brothers and her dad, well, actually no, because they pull up at home and there's a cop car there because their dad has already called the police trying to figure out where Royal is. And then, so while they're out there talking to the police, and Devlin shows up and gives the police his alibi. He's like, oh yeah, well, I was with Crystal all night. And of course, they looking at her like, what the fuck? And she's like, yeah, it's true. And then they're talking about it, and she's like, okay, yes, it happened. It was one time. Her dad tries to convince her to go to the police and tell them that it was rape. And she's like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. Are you dumb? She's like, at the time, yes, I wanted it to happen. Which was, reading it then, I feel like Devlin talked her into it. Like, granted, at the time she said, yes, I want it, but I feel like that was right after Devlin kind of talked her into it. That's just my opinion. But, yeah. So, she has to tell them that, that they had sex. And I'm like, it doesn't occur to y'all to ask if they use protection or not. Doesn't anybody think she should get a plan B? Does she not think that she should get a plan B? I felt like a very concerned parent reading this book. It stressed me out. And then not only that, it was like, what, a few days later, and she's in class with Devlin, and she's goading him to the point where he pulls her out of class into the bathroom, and they have a little heated discussion. Now this I didn't really care for either, because like they were arguing and he just like pressed her up against the sink, ripped her panties, and just plunged into her without like just blah. I'm like, did she even show that she wanted to have sex when she read that? So, you know, I had a little problem with that too. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and I don't know. But they didn't use a condom then, and he came in her again then, and I'm just like, y'all are stressing me the fuck out. Especially because at one point, like, she's been sick to her stomach with Royal being gone, you know, so she's like been throwing up. And it pissed me off, and I'm like, how dumb are y'all? Because when, like, after they have sex and it floods back into her mind, like, oh, my brother's missing and the darlings probably had something to do with it, and she runs into the stall and she throws up, and Devlin is like looking, you know, curious and concerned. He's like, has that been happening a lot? And she's like, why is it any of your business? He's like, are you pregnant? And she's like, fuck you. And I'm like, dude, first of all, it's been 3 days. Calm the fuck down. It's not gonna be like that. But I'm like, you're asking that. You're asking that, but you're not using protection. Y'all ain't mentioned no plan B. Where's the common sense? Where's the common sense? It's driving me crazy. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. And then it happened again when she confronted him outside when he was throwing the football. They out there and they have sex again. But this time she was on her period, and he just slid them panties to the side like he did not give a fuck. And I was like, yo, I gotta talk about this real quick though. Don't let a new girl make no spaghetti. Don't let a new girl make no spaghetti. Now, I don't know if other cultures know what that phrase is in reference to, but if you're black, I know you know what that phrase is in reference to. So, here's the thing. So, I don't know like the history behind it or anything like that really, but you know, I've heard it growing up before. That line is actually in one of my favorite songs by Dom Kennedy, Don't Let a New Girl Make No Spaghetti. Basically, what women would do back in the day, I don't know if the crazy bitches still do that shit, but women back in the day believed that if you wanted a man to fall in love with you, you would cook him some food and add your period blood to it. And I know that's fucking disgusting, but that's what they thought. So that's what they did. And a lot of the times, you know, they would do it to the spaghetti. They put it in the spaghetti sauce, Go ahead and mix it all up and have the man eat it so the man can fall in love, whichever, whatever, however, what, blah. So yeah, so that's kind of where that phrase came from. Don't let a new girl make no spaghetti. Okay, so at one point, Crystal is like, I want to get revenge. I want to get back at Devlin. I want to, you know, hit at a weak point. I want to make him fall in love with me so I can hurt him the way he hurt me. And first of all, I already knew this was going to be a bad idea because I'm like, you're already falling for him. So who's really going to be the one hurt when you try to hurt him, you know? But anywho, she talks to her grandma about it. And her grandma was just like, you know, now I did this for your granddaddy and we've been Gucci ever since. But why don't you go ahead, take a little period blood, put it in his coffee. Go ahead, see how that works. And I could not believe when she actually did that shit and he drank that coffee too. Like, he was suspicious because she brought in 2 coffees. One was for her and she brought a black one for him because she didn't know how he took his coffee. And he had switched the cups. He was like, because I don't know if you poisoned it. So she took a couple sips from the coffee that was for him. And he watched her and he like, okay, whatever. And then he took a sip of her coffee, but it was like some cookies and cream latte or something like that. And he's like, oh, fuck no, that's disgusting. So he ends up drinking the coffee that she brought him. And I'm like, baby, what are you doing? Child. It was just, Devlin was hooked right after he had a taste. And during one of his POVs, he said it, he's like, he's not like his cousins to where, like, how did he put it? I don't know, that he could just like fuck a girl, get her out of his system and call it a day, blah blah blah. But like, Crystal was just such an anomaly to him because like they could not break her. And you know, she was defiant. She didn't want to, you know, obey them and stuff like that. You know how the tropes are. But yeah, he was just, he became obsessive. You know what was fucking hilarious? Well, not hilarious, and this is what I mean by she was pissing me off. Crystal was pissing me off because at one point, Devlin sneaks into her room in the bathroom to pull her out of the shower, and he's like, hey, get dressed. Come on, you're going with us. And I don't remember how he bribed her to get the fuck out of the house, but I'm like, you crazy. I would have opened that door and started yelling for my brothers to come beat your ass. Which is exactly what she should have did. Her dumb ass goes down. How did they threaten her? What did they threaten her with? Fuck, I don't remember. But she goes with him to his car where Colt and Preston are. And they drove her to his grandpa's house. And I don't even know why they actually took her there, because when they got there, this girl comes out and all the guys have like this little silent conversation between each other because they're like, what the fuck is she doing here? She comes out, she's a little skittish, trying to get away, like, oh yeah, you know, I was just here, you know, grabbing my keys, blah blah blah. Like, first she said she was doing a favor for grandpa, and then she's like, oh yeah, no, I was getting my keys, blah blah blah. And then she left, only for the guys to be like, okay, well, let's go. All they wanted to tell her was like, oh, tell your parents not to argue outside. So like, honestly, that seems confusing, because I'm like, why would you take her there if all you were gonna say was, oh, tell your parents to keep their domestic arguments inside the house and not outside the house? That was a little weird. But yeah, so she's with them, and then they take her to the house that her father and her grandparents used to stay in, which is in the ghetto. And they leave her there. And you know what? This is what pissed me off. And this is why I be having fucking issues with Devlin. I be wanting to root for him, but he always doing some fucking dumb shit. Like, they tell her to get out the car and they're like, oh, fend for yourself. It's only a creep down here on the porch leering at her. It's only gangs in the neighborhood. It's only creepers around here. She don't know where the fuck she is. They take the jacket that Colt put around her when she was cold. They take her phone. I don't know if she had her keys with her, but they took everything. Colt drags her out of the car, basically slams her on the ground, and they peel off. And that shit pissed me off because, like, it was just hella raggedy. But she makes her way to the cemetery where she runs into this guy named Chase London, who her and Dixie ran into in book 1. So apparently Chase knew Dixie. They knew of each other or whatever. But Chase is actually dating one of the Darling cousins. Oh, no. Actually, Chase London is dating Preston's sister. And I don't remember her name. But yeah. So what happens is she gets to, like, she runs to the cemetery because there's 2 guys following her. And she hops the fence and she runs over to Chase and she's just like, oh my God, pretend you know me because these guys are following me. And they see her with the guy and they take off or whatever. And she asks him if he's a darling, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm dating one of them though, blah, blah, blah. I go to the public high school with her, whatever. And it was hilarious, the little plan that she came up with. And I wasn't even sure how it was gonna go. But, like, it was so fucking funny to me. Because she had on what? It was just like a t-shirt and some form-fitting, sweatpants or whatever. And she's like, hey, can you give me a ride? He's like, sure, where you gonna go? And she's like, you can take me to school. He's like, you don't want to get your stuff? She's like, nah, I'm good. You can take me to school. And I'm like, what is she planning? I'm like, she know damn well her parents would be having a fit if she showed up to school in this. And it's not really, dress code, so. But anywho, they pull up to the school. She sees the cousins at their parking spot, just chilling at the car or whatever. She gets out of the car with Chase. Now, she has on Chase's Letterman jacket, and this is from the rival public school, so this is already a crime. But they get out of the car, and she notices that they're watching. So what she does is she gets into, like, their line of vision so that she's, like, between them, basically. And she takes off his jacket. She hands it back to him. But she's kind of, like, leaning on him, like she's close to him. And she leans in to press a kiss on his cheek, like, thanks for the ride. Maybe I'll see you again sometime, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's using him. She knows he has a girlfriend. She's not interested in him, but she's trying to use him. Girl, when Devlin yanked her back, and was like, what the fuck are you doing with our girl? That shit was funny as fuck to me, because I was like, oh, baby, you just showed your hand. You just showed your hand. And Crystal, like, in the moment, she was happy as fuck because she's like, oh, he just made a declaration, but he kind of said it too soon before the rest of the school could hear, because he said, our girl, my girl, not our dog, because that's what they've been calling her. So, like, she was geeked for a minute, and he and her, like, they start threatening him, Chase. They start threatening him, and he's trying to tell them, like, nothing happened. I just gave her a ride. Y'all are being mad over dramatic right now. And at first, Crystal's not really saying anything because she's just letting them go off or whatever. And of course, Preston's, he like, you were with a darling. You think you gonna do that shit to my sister? I'll beat your ass. Make sure you can't play football ever again. Yada, yada, yada. And then, Crystal's just like, Jesus Christ, he didn't do anything, nothing happened. I was just thanking, she's like, I was just thanking him for the ride. And Devlin's in her ear like, okay, then what the fuck did you kiss him for? And she was like, to make you jealous. And he's like, next thing you know, her brother's pulling in the parking lot. Man, he dragged her ass to the car like, get in, we going for a drive. He took her home and she was like, what are we doing here? He was like, you about to change. She's like, change for what? He was like, you out here looking like every nigga's wet dream. You think you about to be up in school like this? He like, nah, only I can see you like this. You need to go change. I'm like, wow. But this nigga had a key to the house. Because that house used to be a property of the Darlings, like way back when. And he has key. And I'm just like, yo, daddy that reckless, Crystal, to where he didn't get the locks changed when he bought the house. Reckless as fuck. But let me tell you, this is when I wanted Preston to die. After he got his arm broken by King, and he's throwing all these threats at Crystal, who has nothing to fucking do with this shit anyways. But he actually corners her. He drags her into the guy's locker room. First of all, she gets injured because he pushes her into the door to where, like, she bangs her forehead. Her nose is bleeding. He ties her up to one of the shower stalls, strips her down, he threatens to rape her. And then says, oh, the whole football team is going to get a turn. And when Devlin walks in, I'm like, oh, fuck, he's going to lose his shit. And it was just crazy to me because he comes in and Colt is like, hey, dude, look at this over here. And, you know, like the whole team is in there. But it was all like a fucking power play on Preston's end. He was pissed because Devlin had fucked Crystal more than once, on more than one occasion. And not because she was supposed to be their dog, but because he wanted that ass. And Preston felt some type of way about it because she was basically just supposed to be a pawn, a means to an end, a job that their grandfather assigned to them. And so Preston felt some type of way. He lied to Devlin trying to say that he did something with her. He lied that Crystal said that they had never had sex. And Devlin's like, that's a lie. And Preston's just like, prove it. And if you don't, then we gonna fuck her. And I'm just like, that was a very disturbing scene to get through. Yeah, that was a very disturbing scene to get through because, like, I know the reason Devlin did it. It was to protect her. I know that. But deep down, I know that he really did not want to fucking do that because we get that scene from his POV. He's like, I don't want nobody seeing her like this. I'm the only one that should be seeing her like this. I'm the only one that should be hearing her like this, touching her like this, blah, blah, blah. Like, he didn't want to do that. And then after it was over, he carried her out of there, took her to his house, bathed her. They had a little rendezvous. And they just laid in the bed. And that was when he was just, you know, he kind of laid it bare like, yeah, you're mine. And I'm just like, fuck, man. I wasn't trying to root for your ass. And here I am rooting for your ass. I was rooting for him when he said he would ask around about where Royal could be. That's when I started rooting for him because I was like, he cares. He cares. I feel like that was when it kicked in. But yeah, after that shit happens, I'm like, oh baby, book 3 better be death galore because I want Preston dead. I want Preston dead. And then Colt, man, I don't fucking know. I hate him. I really do fucking hate him, but I don't know if I want him dead yet. I don't know, but I really do fucking hate him. But so after the locker room incident where Crystal and Devlin are chilling in the bed, and Devlin gets the message that a body was found, and so they head to Crystal's dad's construction site where, you know, a body has been found, and they make sure that that it's not Royal. You know what? During this scene too, this is when I started liking Devlin because he was so fucking supportive being there for her through that. I'm like, oh, did you just call her baby? Listen, certain pet names, weakness, don't judge me. But like, yeah, he was, that was when I started liking him. But like, he was holding her hand, he was holding her up, he was making sure she was straight. He was like, I'll check for you if you don't want to look. It's cool, I got you. And then her dad shows up. Now at this point, she had told her family, she's like, if I want to find out where, you know, get some intel on where Royal could be, I'm going to make Devlin fall in love with me so I can get some intel, you know? And her dad at the time, he was like, do it. And I'm just like, this is going to be so fucking reckless. So like when her dad showed up and saw them together, at first he like, because she was supposed to be with her brothers. So her brothers was blowing their dad up. Like, girl, where the fuck you at? You was supposed to be here with us. But chaos. But, you know, at this point, he's seen him. He's just like, go. Y'all go home. Pretty sure it's something else y'all need to be doing. Y'all can go. But freaking... I'm very confused because Devlin's dad did some snooping and found out where Royal was. And I believe I think it was Devlin's dad who moved Royal from the place, like, so the Darlings have this fucking secret society where they hold meetings at the school at midnight in like some little secret basement or whatever. And that's where Royal was being kept. But when Devlin and Crystal went down there, he wasn't there. And Devlin immediately went to his house. But like he was frantically calling out for his dad too, like he was worried that his dad may be in danger. But they end up finding Royal in the attic, bound, beaten, bruised, just bloodied up. But he was alive, thank goodness. So I was happy about that because I was nervous. I was like, y'all better not kill my baby Royal. Like, don't do that to me. But I don't trust Daddy Dolce. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. Like, granted, Royal said that he says Mabel's name, and that's the girl who came out of the grandpa's house who was acting all skittish. He said Mabel's name because Mabel was the one who was like, you know, bringing him food and water in the beginning when he was being kept at the grandpa's house. But I can't help but feel like Daddy Dolce is involved. And I don't know. And it's because when they're in the hospital waiting room and Crystal is sitting with her dad and she's like, oh, Royal asked for you when he had woke up, and he's like, oh, like he tensed up and he's like, what else did he say? And she's like, oh, nothing really, blah, blah, blah. He just said he didn't want to move again. And I'm like, I don't know. It's suspicious. I don't trust him, especially with the body that turned up at his construction site right when they poured the concrete slab. Like, something's just off, and I don't trust that man. But it's really fucking killing me because before the ambulance and the police got to Devlin's attic to get Royal out of there, like, Devlin and Crystal have this moment, and he's just like, I'm sorry. Whatever happens. And his statement trails off, and she picks up, she turns around, she cradles his face, and she's like, we'll get through it. And he's just like, I'm sorry for everything. Like, you didn't deserve this. You didn't deserve to be in the middle of this, blah, blah, blah. And she told him, she was like, it's going to take more than just words for me to forgive you. It's going to take actions too, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I know. And he ends up standing up and telling the police that he was the one that kidnapped Royal. And I already knew that that was a fucking lie. And it's like, clearly he's covering for somebody. But he says he's covering for his dad. But his dad is innocent too. And it's just like, your whole, like, I'm confused as to, well, no, because that's why. Okay, so the Darling family is basically like turning their backs on Devlin and his dad because they basically saved Royal. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just so fucking much going on. But like, I felt so bad when Crystal was reading the text messages that she was getting from Devlin when he was locked up. I was like, boy, if that ain't a man going through some shit. That ain't a man going through some shit, because he had said something, and then like a few minutes later he was like, I'm sorry, my bad. I ain't slept in 24 hours. Don't, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. And I'm just like, yo. But he's just like, talk to me, please. Oh, are you ignoring me now? He's like, I don't have anybody. This and the third. And now at this point, I'm like, fuck, I'm feeling bad for you now. I'm like, the only person he's gonna have is his daddies, because his cousins done turned their backs on him. The whole family done turned their backs on him. He doesn't have anybody else aside from his dad. And I'm like, fuck. Shit. But it killed me, because all her brothers are in the living room and they're like, well, Devlin and his daddy about to show up. You ready to put this nail in the coffin? And she's like, what? She's like, you guys know that they aren't the ones that kidnapped you. And their whole mindset is like, so they're all darlings and they're all gonna fall. And they take her outside and they basically force her to drive a knife through his heart. And she does. And she admits, like, a part of her feels good about it. She's like, this was my plan from the beginning, to get that revenge, to hurt him the way he hurt me. But like, like a part of her felt good about it. She's like, he put me through so much shit. He deserves to feel this. He deserves to hear this. But also, it's killing her because she fell for him, and she knew that he had fell for her too. Double-edged sword. Oh my God, this book series. Why would you do this to me? I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But it's 10 a.m. now. I really just want to read like 2 chapters of book 3 before I try to go to sleep, because I need to go to sleep. Because I need to find out what's going to happen. Because it's like, I feel like they're both going to have to do some groveling now. Crystal and Devlin are both going to have to do some groveling now, because, like, yes, he apologized, but like she said, it's going to take actions in order for her to forgive him. But like, she's basically told him that We're done. We're through. Don't take it personal. You know, you were a means to an end. Like, I used you the way you used me to get what I needed. And it worked. You know, she threw all that shit back in his face. And I'm like, if I still hated him, I'd be happy. But fuck, I'm rooting for y'all. And I'm gonna need y'all to make up. So, like, dead ass, it is giving Romeo and Juliet vibes. The reason why I said that I was, like, iffy about Colt is because, like, he showed up when they were at the hospital to give her her phone. And he texted her and said, like, if you ever need anything, you know, let me know. If you want to run away, escape, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if he's joking or not. But, like, they still have, like, their little banter or whatever. But I'm like, I don't trust him. It's like, I like his banter, I like his flirtiness, but like she said, he's so hot and cold. One minute he's her friend, and then the next he's doing some shit to like fuck with her, and it don't be little shit. So like, that's why I just be feeling some type of way about Colt, and I don't like him, but I don't hate him. Yeah. I don't know, y'all, but I'm about to go read a couple chapters and get some much needed sleep, hopefully. I need to do better. But yeah, that's book 2. Put me through the fucking ringer. Let's see what the last book of the trilogy has in store for me. And I will be back. I'll be back. Make sure you like, subscribe, and you come back so we can discuss the third book. Okay, bye.